Welcome to Analytics Nexus 2019, the premier virtual event for analytics best practices. This presentation is titled Choose Your Own Adventure, Building Your Data Infrastructure, and will be presented by Prolet Miteva. This is just one webinar in a whole series of presentations you have access to beginning today. A few quick items before I introduce this particular presentation. At any time, you can interact with this presenter or other presenters with questions and/or comments on Slack. The Slack address for Analytics Nexus is analyticsnexus.slack.com, and you should have received an email invitation to join if you registered for Analytics Nexus in advance. If you didn't receive that email, you can find an invitation link to the Slack in the menu below, as well as in the resource list. Once you log into Analytics Nexus Slack, you can find the channel for Prolet to engage. Also, you can engage with us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @analytics_nexus. Finally, for questions on Analytics Nexus or Claravine, which is producing this event, feel free to email us at info@claravine.com. Prolet, I'll turn it over to you.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me at the Analytics Nexus. My name is Prolet Miteva. I'm Senior Product Manager of Analytics at Autodesk. I'm currently leading Autodesk product and web analytics efforts to achieve the ever-elusive full view of the customer. I am passionate about digital analytics and its applications. I am a chapter leader for the San Francisco chapter of the Digital Analytics Association, and I organize Measure Camp San Francisco. When I'm not dealing with analytics, I enjoy archery and traveling. You're likely familiar with the usual path of a project, from plan to build, activate, and run. But we are going to do things a little bit differently today. We're going to discuss activate and run before we dive into build. We are also going to discuss people and wrap it all up with some takeaways. Just like you create roadmaps for your projects and initiatives, you need to plan for creating your data pipeline and infrastructure, from data generation to activation. Planning helps you ensure that you're accounting for dependencies and roadblocks. We're not going to dive deeply into plan. However, I want to highlight a few considerations that you need to consider as part of planning. First, it's real time versus at some time. This is important as there is data and there is less important data differently. It can save you money, but more importantly, you can focus on what is important. Plan for how quick you want to deploy the solution. Is it speed or customization? Is it more important to have something quick and potentially later customized, or have something very custom and wait for that very special day? And you will inevitably have to go through the decision of buy versus build. They both can result in a lovely platform that you will love, but they both take different efforts and resources. We will discuss this a bit more in the future, but remember that there is also this possibility for a hybrid solution. In all this, do not forget your users. And I'm not talking about your company's customers. I am talking about your internal users. They are your customer. Keep in mind that they will all think that what you're embarking on is just a walk in the park. It's easy, leisurely, and enjoyable. But we all know that we should be prepared for storms, roadblocks, and thunder. Ultimately, you're trying to get to activation. This is where you activate your data to drive your marketing and support initiatives. But here is also where a lot of companies fail. They fail because they don't always plan for activation before diving into build. They fail because they think of their data platform as a technology effort, while in reality, it is much, much more. At the end of your build, you will usually have a shiny new tool. Would you be prepared to use it? When you embark on your first walk through Thunder, don't forget that you have to ensure that you know your customer journey from acquisition to conversion and all the different steps in between. Ensure that you have prepared enough content to support your customers and your marketers. But don't forget to have control in place. Have someone who monitors and controls the experience that your new tools allow you to create. In a lot of companies, this is a disjointed effort, and no one person oversees the journey. That can spell failure. Before we finally dive into build, I want to briefly discuss run. We all imagine our glorious days of picking up our new platform and using it for awesome, joyous run. But this is what run looks like. Exhausted, crampy developers and users who just want it to be over with. It does not have to be this way, but do plan for the not so fun reality of run. Run is hard. Run is maintenance, which costs people, money, and time. Who has ever deployed a platform that requires no maintenance? I personally have yet to meet that person. We are finally here. Build. And it takes a village and a lot of hard work. If we take a look at the high-level data flow, we will see that you're likely to go through all these phases, either in real time or in your business's time. Your business's time can be real time, few hours, or few days. And let's not forget that there is data and that there is less important data. We have generate. This is your data collection. This either comes from your proprietary tools or SDKs provided by your tools. Ingest ensures data is received either through real-time, streaming, or batch, again depending on your source of system capability and business requirements. Transform encompasses your standard ETL, which, depending on your data cleanliness, you either love or hate. In process, we go deeper into our business's needs and integrate with machine learning models and business logic. All this to get to activate, making the data available and using it to enable easier and better communication with our customers. While, at the same time, we ensure that we have reporting every step of the way and governance and compliance every step of the way. With all the new privacy laws coming up and already here, it is important to ensure that privacy and compliance is there, and it's there by design and not as an afterthought. We're going to dive a bit deeper into the crazy world of the marketing data stacks and options available to us. We will discuss marketing clouds, audience tools, and what I call BYOP, or build your own platform. First, we have the marketing clouds. You will usually integrate your data sources with the marketing cloud which will in turn integrate with all of its solutions. It helps if your data is in good states to begin with, but that's not always the case. And as we all know, we have all been trying for decades to get to clean data. Be aware the data coming back to your systems might not always be as complete as you might like, depending on what parts of the marketing clouds you're utilizing. What you might get from marketing clouds is an easier and streamlined integration of the various platforms. The marketing clouds are growing, and with each acquisition, after a certain time, in some cases long time, you get better integration between the tools you're using. They also have incentive to keep you in the ecosystem and dedicate a lot of resources to make the integrations better. You get a single point of support, so when you want to scream your lungs out, you can just go in one direction. That, in turn, though, can be a little bit of an issue because if your support does not end up being great, it might not be the best thing for your choice. Now, the other part of marketing clouds is that you might not always get the best-in-class tool that is part of the marketing cloud. So keep that in mind and as you're going through your process. When we talk about audience or data tools, we're going into the wild, unknown, recently becoming very sexy world of platforms. Those have multiple names. You might have heard them referred as CDP for Customer Data Platform or Experience Management Platform. Also, it can be whatever marketing name the vendor decided to go with so they can sell you more. Your integration will involve connecting your own back office data sources and connecting the audience management platform. And this is where the magic happens. You are integrating a pass-through management platform for your first-party data that connects to the rest of your marketing or support ecosystems. It allows, usually, for identity resolution, sharing, and creating of audiences, as well as conditional triggers for other systems. With these tools and platforms, you're gaining the advantage of having built-in integrations with a lot of marketing platforms. The integration will depend from platform to platform, and this is where we get into the wild world of features. You will experience a quicker deployment versus building your own platform, and you will have interface to manage your audience's data and connections. Do not underestimate the convenience of this. As your end users will be likely marketing, they are expecting good and easy experience. On the not so bright side, you have a lot of vendors. A lot of vendors to sift through with a lot of features. They're not yet very well outlined and prescribed as the field and the platforms are still defining and new. If we look at the possibility of building your own platform, you might see that it looks on a high level very similar to an audience management platform. However, you might end up to have a little bit more circular data flow instead of bidirectional flow. This is going to be dependent on your system design. However, inevitably, you would need to create a middle layer of services and processors to enable integrations with the rest of your marketing and business systems. And this is usually also where a lot of the magic will happen. You need to plan as well for the management needs, and that is to ensure that your users can actually easily use the platform and do not have to reach to engineering every step of the way. The biggest advantage you gain with building your own data platform is the full control over what and how you build it. This usually results in more custom machine learning integrations, which your data science team might really be very excited about. It is, however, very engineering heavy, as you need to build a lot yourself. The infrastructure, the connectors, the data processing, identification, and user interface. And along with that, you will have even more items to maintain. All of this will likely affect your time to market in a negative way, so make sure you plan about it. In this day and age, I don't think I need to mention this, but do use some of the cloud ecosystems that are available. They all now have a set of tools and services that can make your life easier. And don't be afraid to combine your efforts with open source tools and or paid tools. In some instances, the cost of the tools will be very justified. So what is right for you? It's not an easy question to answer, and you might hate my answer, but it depends. Yes, not the most exciting answer to hear. However, every business is different, and requirements and priorities are different. That said, I want to dive deeper in one aspect: your engineering capabilities. Where do you fit on the spectrum? This might define which direction you should choose. You will notice that the range is from light engineering to heavy engineering. There is really no option for no engineering. It can be you or your partner, but you will have to have some. Marketing clouds have the potential for the least engineering. Moving down the spectrum are the audience tools. Then we go into hybrid, and finally, custom integration. Again, it is important to understand and be honest with your capabilities. In all of this, one thing to point out is that there is a lot of you. Throughout the full cycle, it takes a lot of people in each and every stage. People are important. And I know not all of us are excited about the prospect of dealing with people. But the reality is you will have to, and you'll have to deal with a lot of them. And that leads me to the point. Tools don't kill budgets. People kill budgets. Maybe not always, but a lot of times the cost of your tools might turn to be negligible when you consider the whole life cycle of your data and the people involved. Speaking of people involved, also a lot of times our data brings us to talking about marketing versus engineering. And we really need to stop doing this. We need to start talking about marketing and engineering. More and more the lines are blurring, and we all need each other more and more every day. Above all else, please remember, you are building a product. Yes, it's not something your customers use, but your internal customers are using it, and they can make your efforts a success or a failure very quickly. That is especially true if you do not provide them with the features, reliability, and ease of use they have come to expect from all the technology and products they're using every day. As a takeaway, evaluate your capabilities before diving in, and be honest with yourself. Think about activation, or your work will be for nothing but the pleasure of engineering a platform, which we know can happen especially if you're an engineering-heavy organization. Ensure that you think about your users because you're building a product. Along the way, and always, plan for a lot of you. I'm happy to continue the conversation online and on Slack.
Thank you, Prolet, for sharing this material with us. It has been truly an insightful presentation. Just a reminder to our guests, you can engage with Prolet with questions or comments at her Slack channel on Analytics Nexus Slack. Thanks again.